CIA document on people's paranormal ability to break through spatial barriers. The picture you see is of Nina Kulagina, a citizen of the former Soviet Union, who has apparently demonstrated psychokinetic influence on physical objects. And here we see she's got what looks like a ping pong ball in between her fingers, trying to move it with her mental ability. Psychokinetic influence. She caused quite a stir at the time, and in 1968 Western researchers attended a conference where shown a video of her in action. Are there human beings in the world who have gifted abilities that go beyond any sort of explanation? Cases of mind influencing matter that have been reported throughout human history across almost all cultures, in various texts from the Vedic scriptures and Yoga Sutras, from the ancient Egyptians all the way to the Bible and more. The Oracle of Delphi of ancient Greece, Jesus, Moses, Milarepa, Mohammed, many other names come to mind. These abilities include telepathy, psychokinesis, and other phenomena that lie within the realm of parapsychology. Among the most marvelous, most frightening, and certainly most unbelievable possibilities suggested by psychic folklore is that human beings may be able to exert an observable influence upon the physical world simply through the power of conscious intention or unconscious intention, or by some accounts through the assistance of spiritual intelligences, or as a result of mysterious principle known as synchronicity. Some scholars, such as Stephen Broad, professor of philosophy at the University of Maryland in the US, take such reports very seriously, claiming that no honest person can examine the case study reports and easily dismiss them. This is what Jeffrey Mishlove, from his book The PK Man, A True Story of Mind Over Matter. Donald Lopez Jr., professor of Buddhist and Tibetan studies in the University of Michigan, provides a great example in describing the Buddha, and he says, with this enlightenment, he was believed to possess all manner of supernormal powers, including full knowledge of each of his own past lives and those of other beings, the ability to know others' thoughts, the ability to create doubles of himself, the ability to rise into the air and simultaneously shoot fire and water from his body. Although he passed into nirvana at the age of 81, he could have lived, quote, for an eon or until the end of the eon, if only he had been asked to do so, according to source. Experiments in psychokinesis. Fast forward to today, and there is plenty of research that's been conducted by scientists all over the world and within the highest levels of government that have illustrated the fascinating phenomenon of mind influencing matter within human beings having these abilities, as well as some interesting observations at the quantum level as well. One example comes from a document I found within the electronic reading room at the Central Intelligence Agency, the CIA. Agencies like the CIA have long conducted research into the paranormal, and they have also kept tabs on the research and development within this realm from other countries. However, despite the fact that there is an abundance of declassified literature available within this realm that is quite mind-altering in itself, it's safe to assume that the most astonishing discoveries remain highly classified, at least in my opinion. The document is entitled, quote, Research into Paranormal Ability to Break Through Spatial Barriers, end quote. I've cited it in many of my articles before, but never especially dedicated any article to the document itself. This document reviews experiments by the Aerospace Medicine Engineering Institute in Beijing, China, which the CIA believes was, quote, probably military operated, end quote. It was reported in the July 1990 issue of the Chinese Journal of Semantic Sciences and was translated into English by DIA, the Defense Intelligence Agency. The document highlights experiments involving the videotaping and high-speed photography of the transfer of test specimens, nuts, bundles of matches, pills, nails, threads, photosensitive paper, chemically treated paper, sponges dipped in iron chloride 3, etc., through the walls of sealed paper envelopes, double-layered KCNS tape paper bags, sealed glass bottles and tubes with sealed caps, and sealed plastic film canisters without the walls of any of these containers being breached. All of the Chinese experiments reported using gifted children and young adults who possessed well-known extraordinary PK, that psychokinetic ability, that allowed them to teleport the various test specimens. In all the experimental cases that were reported, the test specimens that were teleported were completely unaltered or unchanged from their initial state. Even the insects were approved for public release since they had been unaffected by having been teleported. Repeated and well controlled. According to a declassified Air Force study by scientist Eric W. Davis entitled Teleportation Physics Study, which I obtained from the Federation of American Scientists, quote, "The experiments were well controlled, scientifically recorded, and the experimental results were always repeatable," end quote. Davis also gives similar validation for earlier experiments in China. Quote, "A more spectacular series of rigorously controlled and repeatable laboratory experiments occurred in the People's Republic of China, PRC. In September 1981, an extraordinary paper was published in the PRC in the journal Ziran Zazi, translation means Nature Journal, and this paper was entitled Some Experiments on the Transfer of Objects Performed by Unusual Abilities of the Human Body, end quote. This is by Xu Huang et al., 1981. The paper reported that gifted children were able to cause the apparent teleportation of small objects, that's radio microtransmitters, photosensitive paper, mechanical watches, horseflies, other insects, etc., from one location to another that was meters away without them ever touching the objects beforehand. The experiments were operated under exceptionally well-controlled conditions, both blind and double-blind. The researchers involved including not only observers from various PRC colleges and medical research institutes, but also representatives from the PRC National Defense Science Commission. Because of the involvement of the latter, it was deemed necessary that an unclassified intelligence information report be prepared by the DIA, see Xu Hang et al., 1981, which included a detailed English translation of the article. The takeaway, the conclusion. At the end of the day, when you start exploring quantum physics, consciousness and mind over matter interactions, as well as parapsychology, which encompasses all of these fields into one, it really expands one's consciousness. There is so much we have yet to discover about ourselves, our relationship with each other, with what we perceive as our physical material universe, and the overall nature of reality. The more we progress and grow as a human civilization, the more this type of non-material science will become relevant. The advancement of non-material science and understanding of it represents the next scientific revolution. And if you'd like, please refer to the video before this one, The Forgotten Sixth Sense of the Ancient World. And Herodotus, who went and visited ancient Egypt, the ancient Greek Herodotus says, the Egyptians were the happiest people I have ever met. And they had, of course, knowledge of the sixth sense, telekinesis, and telepathy. So please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. This is on Collective Spark by Arjun Walia Collective Evolution. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.